Whoever is going to win this series, we will have one player from the Code A qualifier advance to the next round of Code A. It might be the guy starting to the top right, but he is down one game already. It is the LGIM player. It is the Protoss who calls himself
LGIM Preston.
Both of them were able to win their Code A qualifier grid. First here as the Protoss player in this PVT, and of course once again he has to face a Terran player starting to the bottom left in blue. It's the CJ Entus player, it's a Terran called
CJ Entus Bbyong.
Well, let's see what Bbyong has planned for game number 2. Playing a riskier build last game, but then being aggressive afterwards. Really kind of a two-step process. You know, I think you could compare this as, it's an early game thing, but you can compare this to, for example, going Stargate play to force Hydras, and then going into Colossi. It's like he went Command Center first to play an economic build and try to cut some corners to catch up, and that's when he tricked him, went behind his back with some Marines, and just continued that pressure. He made so many barracks.
Bbyong is going for gas now after his first barracks, and the thing about the Protoss play here, about LGIM first, is that in his Code A qualifier bracket, he faced several Terran players. He was able to win against every single one of them, and in the final he had to face Reality, a player who made quite an impression in his WCS preliminary matches. So Reality was defeated with 1-2, and now we have first up against another Terran player, but Bbyong certainly showed him that it's not as easy as it was in the Code A qualifier. This is the first round of Code A, and Bbyong is really determined to win this best of 3 match.
Yeah, and he's looking good, man. So far, so good with that first game. Just sneaking around with those Marines, a little bit keeny. That's how he did that. Now he gets his SCV in. He wants to see whether or not first is taking his gas. He wants to see the chrono energy that's left. He will also see that the Zealot is being made. And this is not too crucial considering that he's going for one-base play, at least initially, so he's not going to have to make his bunker faster or anything like that. Starts his second gas with the factory. He is really heavily committing to one-base play here.
And one-base play is something that we've already seen today. And it was actually really funny. We had a match earlier today already with one-base play. It was actually in the first group that we had today. It was between Zac and a Vampire. And a couple of people, after Zac was not able to make this really work all that well, mentioned in the live thread on Team Liquid that since they've seen Zac play that actually they have a whole new level of appreciation for players like Hart, who do so well when they go for one-base push. So we'll find out if Bbyong is more on the level of Hart in terms of execution, or if he will actually be beaten as Zac was in the game of Counter.
He's actually going to reactor some Hellions out here. First Caldor, this is really interesting. The SCV is spotted here. He wants to check and make sure there's no Banshees being proxied, for example, and gets that free scout kill there, which also denies the vision of the Nexus. But reactoring some Hellions out here with a medevac is really interesting. He may just try to run Hellions into both sides, drop some in a medevac, and then actually drive some into the natural. This could be done with Marauders as well, as he is making that tech lab, but it's more likely that it's going to be Banshee production, it looks like. It's a weird place to make your tech lab if you're going to actually use it for the barracks, because it'll take the Marauders longer to rally that way.
On the other hand, he could also just go for the Banshee here, as already pointed out by you, because with the placement that we have, the starports, which would make sense. Here's already the cloak being researched. And Bbyong also taking a bit of a small risk, because in the early game, all that he was relying on was actually one Marine. So he had not a lot of units to defend here, but of course with what he scouted, you don't expect a lot of aggression coming from first. He just wants to make his normal expansion happening. Saw the Hellions already rally towards his base and immediately blocked around.
Yeah, and he's actually going to pick off a Zealot here. The warp gate research is done though, and he's going to have that next warp in of units, even though there's 4 Hellions here. But he's going to lose a sentry, and he's going to have to target really well and pull his probes correctly. So far, so good. Yeah, and he's actually not pulling his probes as well as he was before, but the Hellions decide not to chase rather than going for the close by probes. The splitting here on these probes is actually quite nice, though.
And on the other hand, 9 of them were already killed. He's trying to get in another position in order to get off another shot. The thing is, yes, we already have the robotics nearly done, but how much damage will he actually do with those Banshees? He spots the Banshee already, so he will not rally the Observer across the map, and will actually put it in position.
This is a precarious position still, though, for first. Right now, his worker count reduced to 21, and there is a command center on the way for Bbyong, so he's not going to be committing to this all-in. This is definitely a very aggressive build that needs to do damage, but it's not an all-in by any means. Both of those Hellions were shut down really easily, and he knows how many Stalkers he's dealing with. This is a pretty unfortunate situation for Bbyong now. Does he decide to cancel Cloak? No, he didn't cancel it.
He starts another expansion. Cloak was already done a while ago, but now we have him with base number 2 and number 3 building. And a very, very weird situation for First to be in. He lost a little bit too many Harvesters in the early game, which was definitely a blow to his economy. He has rebuilt his Harvester count. He's at 29, he's at 30 to 29 actually right now. But those 2 command centers, they will definitely boost the economy of Bbyong quite a bit. And he still has a couple of Banshees on the map that he can use right now to kill additional probes.
He does, and he's going to try for it. Here comes one into the natural now. Gets 1 probe, but is chased away immediately. Either way, it's very annoying to deal with, and the second Banshee actually going to go into the main base. There's an observer near the mineral line, but he may actually just decide to catch transferring probes or a spawning sentry, for example, like this probe.
Doesn't even kill it, sees it, but doesn't take it down. One has been killed. There are
great angle,
observers in total, and he's really making this work.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to lose this Banshee, it looks like, but the way he approached it...
just be able to escape. Oh,
just
so
barely
close.
out of vision, yeah.
So close, yeah.
But he approached through the natural where he knew the observer would not be waiting. Meanwhile, another Banshee actually starting to rack up the kills. 3 kills in total at the natural, 4 as he flies away.
Yeah, you can't see it right now, guys, but we had a bit of a harass at the natural, and this Banshee, as Wolf already said, was able to take down 3 additional Harvesters, which puts the Harvester killed at actually 14.
Yeah, and in total that's 38 probes and 31 SCVs. The Commander, though, just now being landed at the natural. He does have 3 Commanders, so he'll be able to catch up to that worker count pretty quick. He's also got enough siege tanks out to start being aggressive if he wants to. He's got double E-bays up as well, so he's kind of playing this a little bit Bbyong style in a way, where he's just kind of mixing tanks into his composition. This wasn't the original plan, most likely, but he's transitioned this way.
The siege tank play also something that, for example, a player like Supernova will actually use very aggressively to put pressure on his opponent. Supernova does it with a bit of a different style, but definitely the siege tank is making a bit of a revival in this match. Not only in the last few weeks, but also we've seen it occasionally now. Most of the players are still focusing on bio units, and later on then either Ghosts or Vikings, depending on what exactly the Protoss player tries to pull off. But this is getting more and more popular.
By the way, the upgrades are much faster here for Bbyong. He's got 1-1 on the way already. Now with perfectly used chrono boosts, like not missing a beat on those and constantly chrono boosting those upgrades, first will not only catch up but pass him, because he's not that far ahead in upgrades, but there's not going to be an upgrade deficit for Bbyong, who's done a very aggressive tech build, so it's very rare to see someone actually be this positioned in upgrades after doing a siege tank type play or some sort of Hellion Banshee type play. So Bbyong, though, his biggest problem, his biggest enemy here is going to be the 3rd Nexus. That's something that First has had up for quite some time now, and he's already teching towards those Colossi, which are going to be pretty hard to deal with.
And he is committing to the Colossus. It's not like we see this build where he then switches into Storm. No, we have currently also researching extended thermal lands. So what is going to be really important will be the Viking count. He doesn't have any right now. He's just focusing on his medivacs. But as you can see already, the upgrades were able to catch up. He used those chrono boosts at the double forge in order to make that work. Bbyong not ahead anymore in the upgrade count. And those Banshees are now still on the map, roaming the map and trying to reduce the Stalker count a little bit, trying to prevent them from taking the Zanaga watchtowers and getting this vision. But of course he has to be really careful here, because we have for First still a lot of observers on the map, 2 in total.
Yeah, I love that he's doing this. By the way, Bbyong doesn't know about the 3rd Nexus at all. He's actually flying around the north, but he doesn't know what's going on over there. And I feel that if he knew it was there, he would be harassing it a long time ago with these Banshees. Now he's sitting around and he will see it. And he actually could get these sentries. No, the Stalkers come back just in time. It looks like he may get 1 if he targets, but there's too much. He doesn't want to trade for that. He's going to get out.
It's a little bit too risky, exactly. If he would have tried to target down those sentries, he could get one still. He gets one. He actually gets one. A little bit of a bad positioning here by First, and Bbyong sees it and immediately makes it work, takes down 1 sentry and backs off.
He's going for a small move out with his Bioforce on the map. This is presumably to counterattack when this army comes around to chase his Banshees. Banshee's actually not being watched right now. They need to be babysat, and he's not going to. So he'll actually lose 2 Banshees for a Stalker, it looks like here. A very bad trade, but the Bioforce is ready to run into the natural. There's only a few Stalkers there.
That would be devastating right now if he
doesn't have stim yet. It's about to finish.
Not just yet. Can he make this work? Oh, no, it's done. Stim is done. He uses it, and he slowly but steadily just sort of
he's targeting the Nexus.
And
he can lift up, or he can just walk up.
It died.
And now he's fighting these Zealots in a great position. 1 Medivac so low on hit points. He's actually just going to trade here, it looks like. Lets the Medivacs go, and will target down as many Zealots as he can. But now he's going to run into the 3rd base. Zealots are being warped in there. I think he has enough to hold, but it's going to be close. The Zealots actually run. He won't be able to target the Nexus down, but he will do some damage to the ground forces.
Yeah, he took down a few of those Zealots and now backs off again as he realizes that the main building is not being... Well, he has no chance of taking it down, of actually destroying it. But now, this was actually a really nice thing by Bbyong to do. This is what you want to do as a Terran player when you rely on Bioforce on a map like this. Dart in, take down the Nexus, and then either commit and go into the main base or just back off and save your units.
Plus, now, something to consider is, though, that First is in a position where he feels compelled to do a little bit of attacking of his own. He's like, well, I'm mining from 2 bases, he's mining from 3 right now. I gotta move around on the map. I've got the better upgrades coming out here. Does he know that, though? His 2-2 is about to finish, whereas Bbyong's is just about 2/3 done for his weapons, about 1/10 of the way done for his armor. If he actually hits with, for example, 2-2 versus 2-1, he could do some extra damage.
Bbyong has a lot more army supply. He's at a 95 against 63.
And he's got these very important siege tanks that makes attacking, you have to really commit. You can't kind of poke around when there are siege tanks on the map like that.
It's not like we have a huge amount of Immortals in the army of course, so he can't take the damage and just
he doesn't
go
even,
in.
He doesn't even have a single one,
He's going for +3/+3 right now. Charge, Storm, all those upgrades that you want to have as a Protoss player in the late game.
The upgrades may win him this game. Composition-wise, he doesn't have any advantages. He's got Colossi out, Storm is coming, but the Vikings are here, and he's gonna be really hard pressed to defend his 3rd base. Oh, these Vikings though, a big mistake.
Really great pickups. With the blink that he has, he puts it to good use. He always goes in a little bit too far, takes a bit of damage, takes down a Viking, and then blinks away.
Is the factory worth it first? That's what he's asking himself right now, as he eats some huge fire there. And he doesn't get the factory, in fact. This is going to be a great spotter unit for Bbyong, who's got 2-point defense drones available on his Raven.
Scans ahead, scouts, of course, everything here. And here comes another attack with the bio units. Will First commit? It looks like he will, but at the same time, he's about to lose his Nexus. He really has to do something right now.
Storm.
And he uses the Storm.
Storm is good, and he's actually going to hit the Force at the front. The Colossus doing so much extra damage. The Vikings are not in position, and the Warpins for First are really good, but he's just got so much on the ground. I think he's going to hold here, though, quite well.
Do too much damage.
The upgrades are a big problem. It's too much.
He doesn't have anything to counter the Colossi. The siege tanks were not able to take them down, and in the end, the Storms were good as well. So it's just a combination of Colossi damage and area of effect dealt by the High Templars that he just cannot withstand.
He lost all of his siege tanks there, and now there's a 4th base up for First at the top left. This is something that Bbyong has not seen. He's sitting his factory over in that location right now to perhaps check.
And with all the resources that First has, he's getting the 2nd starport. He's also adding the Ghost Academy so that he can start Ghosts and EMPs.
This is a position where Bbyong has to win a critical fight. He has to snipe a Nexus. He has to do a small thing really well. Oh, like catching these probes to the north. He's going to catch so many probes just coincidentally. Now he knows immediately, oh, okay, Nexus has got to be over there. I got to get over there now before his army is here. But these cannons are so smart by First, they're going to buy him just enough time to keep this Nexus alive.
Yeah, he also sent the Marines to the left in order to spot it. I think he might just be able to take it down if he walks around the Nexus.
Oh, wow. I think you're
right. What he tries to do.
And he's going to get it. He may be able to lift some out. Now, doesn't lift out, but he will maybe save a medevac. Meanwhile, the Natural is under attack.
He is everywhere. He's going in at the Natural, trying to take down another one. All those warped-in Zealots really struggle. A nice sort of step here by Bbyong. He takes down the Zealots, at least most of them, but he won't be able to take down the Nexus. Not even the Zealots die. really well played, and those upgrades, the upgrade advantage really coming into play here.
And First is just remaking his Nexus. He's long distance mining a lot. He's got probes all over the place. He's got units all over the place. If you look at the minimap, he actually looks like something that's been blown to bits, just kind of floating around. But at the same time, once he gets everything together and starts to move around on the map, Bbyong will not be able to fight him. He doesn't have the right composition, really. With good storms, this is going to be basically impossible to fight.
A Warp Prism now being built for First as well. He can use it for Storm Drops, can use it to save those.
And all the Templar out of position here.
Against the EMPs. But now we have the army supply in favor of First, and First has the Archons to lead the charge. He has the Colossus as well.
He decides not to fight. He wants his Templar to be with his army. Look at the production tab. You can see that Bbyong's resources really add up here.
A smart move here, actually putting down the factory to block a few of those mineral patches off while all those probes are now heading to the top left.
Yeah, actually a few of them got bugged out and are not even mining at all.
Yeah, they're just waiting there.
Now he moves them back, but a Hellion is even being produced. He actually sends his entire army to deal with this factory, and he's going to lose some cannons to this Bioforce. And this is exactly what Bbyong needs. He needs this army to be out of position to buy time for his fourth base. But his fourth base is not even at the right location. He's going to have to make it into an orbital, then he's going to have to fly it. He may fly it and then make it into a planetary, but either way, he needs more time. And this attack may just give it them. If he gets the concave at the top of the ramp here, this would be golden.
He gets off a good storm first, that is, and he's driving Bbyong back with storms and damage dealt by the Colossi. He's going in. Does Bbyong have enough to stand this much pressure?
It looks like he may. It's a pretty close fight. As the Colossi fall, he has to pull back with his Bioforces, but a decent trade here.
He takes down Archon after Archon, but it's just not enough, and Bbyong drops in supply. First, definitely controlling the pace of the game. He even has the Warp Prism to the left side of the map right now in the main base of Bbyong. If he decides to warp in here, it could do a lot of damage to the production and economy. Especially since the Dark Shrine is just now about to finish.
I think that's what he's waiting for. As soon as the Shrine finishes, he'll phase and go for it. Ghosts do spot the Warp Prism, though. They are going to ward it away. But more Zealot harassment at the third base. We didn't get a shot of it the first time it happened. The second time it's doing a lot of damage. And Bbyong just cannot continue to produce. The Photon Cannons are up at the top left base. Cannot attack there. His fourth dies. And so does his chances of taking a 2-0 victory here. There's no way for him to recover now. First is going to walk into his base and kill him. GG.
There it is, the GG, and him forcing game number 3, the LGIM Protoss player with a win on map number 2, Cloud Kingdom. Bbyong, on the other hand, has to fight another day, not strong enough on the second map to take down the LGIM player. Really well done. Nice game, a nice series that we have between the two of them.
That was such a cool game. You know, Bbyong with a very aggressive Hellion build, like a reactor Hellion expand almost, versus the Protoss. Just very aggressive Hellions, you know. Walking them into the main base, killing a Zealot, then killing that Sentry. Things got really scary really fast. But his Banshee follow-up was so well dealt with by First that he wasn't able to really capitalize on that.
That was a little bit dangerous to First. If he would have spotted it early on, he would have probably just sent his first observer over to the other side of the map, and then he wouldn't have been in a position where he could have defended against those cloaked Banshees. So a really nice scout there by First. He saw it with a stalk and then he sent out and immediately reacted, put the observer into the mineral line in the main base and defended against the Banshees. Not enough damage done by Bbyong, and that's something that he paid for in the later game.
Now, this final map is going to be Antigua Shipyard. Such a great map for this matchup, I feel. It's all about map control and awareness. The third base on this map can be taken easily by either player, but if you take it, you do have to defend against the drops. You got to be careful of your opponent's move outs, and Bbyong has shown he can attack 4 different locations at once with his Bioforce. Can First be ready? Whoever wins this will move on to the second round of Code. The loser drops out. This is the GSL round of 48 with Caldor and Wolf.